I think Raila Odinga is very fit to be the AUC chairperson.
And Raila Odinga, in my opinion, does not qualify. The requirements, the basic academic requirements of someone to vie for the AUC chairmanship. Raila, as far as I know, he went to Germany and did some welding. I think Raila represents a failed African statesman. Presidents should reject this person.
So we are requesting African presidents, please reject this man.
And the trophy that Raila can win with no opposition, he can win unopposed. The trophy that Raila can take home is being an opportunist.
Hello guys, welcome to another session here today, and we are going to discuss about Raila Odinga and AUC and the fact that it is a bit shaky and not that promising for Raila Odinga, as my colleagues here are saying, but I want to hear what they're going to say. My name is Boniface Mirikwa, my colleague here
Boniface Gashora
and
Max Alun.
And we want to discuss about Raila Odinga and what Raila Odinga is presenting for the AUC. I will start with you, Boni. Raila Odinga has committed himself for the AUC chairperson. What do you think about it, first of all?
It's a different thing to present yourself and offer yourself for position and actually qualify to go for it.
Yeah.
And Raila Odinga, in my opinion, does not qualify. The requirements, the basic academic requirements of someone to vie for the AUC chairmanship, he does not qualify. You need to have a master's degree in international relations, in law, in matters diplomacy or economics.
Yeah.
But Raila, as far as I know, he went to Germany and did some welding. He got some certificate. He came back to Kenya. His father supported him, and he got into politics. He does not qualify. And just by virtue of solving Kenya's political issues, the president presented him to vie for the AUC. And in the first place, he does not qualify. And by virtue of that, presidents from all over the 54 member states of the African Union should reject this person. The second thing is, Raila, in my opinion, represents the ways of the old. Raila is that traditional politician, and that's exactly what Africa does not need at this moment. Africa needs someone who is progressive, someone who thinks about the future, someone whose ideals and even ways of governance are futuristic. Raila is someone who's, if he loses an election to become Kenya's president, he goes into bed with the person who wins and makes sure that the progress of the country is halted to his own benefit. So I think Raila represents a failed African statesman, in my opinion, former Prime Minister of Kenya, who has not only led this country into the ashes, but aided other governments that he has not been part of to run this country into ashes. We cannot take that risk as Africans, especially youthful Africans must rise up and call him out. And I think by just opposing him, we'll be representing the future of this and protecting it, of this country.
All right. My colleague to the right, introduce yourself, then give us your view, your starting view about Raila being in AUC.
I'm Max Alun, and this AUC thing, I think African presidents should just reject Raila. We as Kenyans, we are requesting them to reject Raila because he's been doing business with Kenyans. Now he's gone abroad. He wants to do business now with Africans. So we are requesting African presidents, please reject this man. Don't vote for him. Let him be defeated by who is this guy? Yali. Mohammed Ali Yusuf. So let Raila not lie to you that he's going to win this AUC. If he has been defeated by just a slum in Kibra, Raila was defeated. Just upgrading Kibra to be in a good standard. Defeated Raila. Raila cannot even. Right? Okay. In short, let us ask this African president to reject Raila.
Well,
that is all I can tell them.
Thank you.
Because he has been defeated here in Kenya. He has been defeated 5 times. He was the MP for Kibra, and then it was Langata constituency. That place is still, that is the only place where we still have flying toilets up to date. So how are you going to tell us that you were defeated to solve a problem in a slum, and that now you are lying to us that you can solve a problem of Africa, yet you were defeated by just a slum. You never solved a problem in a slum in Kenya, and you are lying to us that you can solve a problem of Africa. That is pure nonsense. Let the African presidents reject Raila.
I think I will moderate, and also I will be of my own opinion. I think Raila Odinga is very fit to be the AUC chairperson because, first of all, one of the requirements for one to be an AUC chairperson, above all other requirements, is that you can either be a former president or a former prime minister. And Raila checks as a former prime minister of Kenya here between 2007 and 2013. And Raila has all the accolades that he can present as a Pan-African. We have seen Raila campaigning in his own campaigns here in Kenya, preaching about Pan-Africanism. He knows the story of Kenya. He knows where Kenya is coming from and where Kenya is going. And with that, now we can put that congruent to what he can do to Africa. And I think he will present the best model that can lead Africa to the next generation, because he knows and understands. Because I've heard also his speeches when he was talking about the AUC during his launch. He was very passionate about Project Africa, about making sure that Africans are recognized, and we have to go back to our history and understand where we went from so that we can go forward. So I believe Raila Odinga has all the accolades that he requires to go to the next level as the AUC chairperson. And it is a one-off for Kenya that Kenya will now present a candidate of its own to be the AUC chairperson, who has a very good standing compared to the last elections that AUC had.
I think you don't need to call that thing Kenya thing. It's a Raila family thing. It's once he wins, the family will benefit, not Kenyans. Yeah.
Exactly, and you've made a very worrying point. You've called Raila a Pan-African. And it is in the nature of most of us Africans to use that word in vain.
Yeah.
You just cannot call someone a Pan-African by deed of just them presenting themselves wamevaa kaunda suit and everything, but their actions contradict what they say. And in that aspect, I also want to criticize President William Ruto, because he presents himself as this Pan-African guy who is pro-African policies and policies that are for the people. But in real sense, he does the opposite. He promotes the export of labor. He promotes the imposition of foreign aid and debt that is going to just bring burdens to the people of Kenya. And let's go back to Raila. Raila, I've described him as a failed statesman who has been unable to just solve the problems of his own people. Let's not even say Kenyans in general. Raila has not succeeded in convincing convening development agendas for his own people from the Nyanza region, especially the Luo Nyanza region. And now you're presenting himself, he's presenting himself as someone who is pro-African. You cannot be pro-African if you're not pro your own ethnic group in your own country. You cannot be pro-African if you do not support your own people from the country you're from. And one thing I give real priority to, if you cannot, in the humanity aspect, support your own people by virtue of protecting their rights, you do not qualify to call yourself Pan-African. You're putting this man in the levels of Kwame Nkrumah, who will come out and criticize the people from the West who are well, even now, orchestrating the problems we're experiencing in the country. You cannot be in support of the West and call yourself a Pan-African. You're trying to put Raila in the levels of Samora Moses Machar, who are in every meeting, in every rally they did, criticizing the ways of the West. Raila is, I dare say, Raila's Western leaders is someone who supports their policies in Africa. You cannot call him a Pan-African.
I think I will, maybe before I come to you, Max, I think I will answer Boni here. Raila Odinga has been at the forefront in Kenya to advocate for democracy. We know that since 1992.
When ODM itself, there is no democracy, no democracy.
Since 1992, we had...
So all democracy has changed its meaning.
We had multipartyism in Kenya since 1992, and it is that multipartyism that has borne to us even the Constitution of 2010. The only person who defended the Constitution, a change in the Constitution from 2005 to 2010 has been Raila Odinga. He has consecutively advocated for this new constitution that we can enjoy here in Kenya, and that has brought a lot of development here in Kenya.
There were many people.
Also, Raila Odinga has been very key in the government. Even, do you remember the last time, I think it was just a few months ago, when the ambassador, Meg Whitman of the US, was trying to meddle into the internal affairs of the country? Because I'm coming at when...
He said the rogue ambassador.
Yes, I'm coming to what he said, that Raila Odinga has never criticized any Western country. Raila Odinga came out very boldly to criticize the ambassador of the country for meddling in the affairs of our nation. So I think everything that you're saying has an answer of Raila Odinga being at the forefront,
for example,
to represent Pan-Africanism as a Pan-African.
Let me come in on that. Yeah. You know, as we all know, politics is a game of interest. I dare not say even a game, it's a business of interest. And that time that Raila was siding with the Kenyans and being Pan-African at his best, was because his interests were not being safeguarded at that time. And you cannot say that he was being Pan-African by criticizing the ambassador, the American ambassador in the country. It is just because his interests were not being safeguarded at that time. And the trophy that Raila can win with no opposition, he can win unopposed. The trophy that Raila can take home is being an opportunist. He's the biggest opportunist we can ever see in this world. This guy sees an opportunity and he takes it with both hands, smiling. He does not care what it has cost him. Even if people have died on the streets, he does not care. He's an opportunist. And that's why right now when President Ruto told him, I can support you for the AUC, but you have to do this for me. He stepped forward and said, yes, I am loyal, but I'm loyal. And it's very sad that now you're calling him Pan-African just because when his interests were not being safeguarded, he was in support of the Pan-African agenda. Quite unfortunate.